Every morning you wake up to a world that's already louder than your thoughts. Before your eyes even open, the vibration starts. The light, the pings, the endless stream of notifications waiting like restless ghosts. The world doesn't whisper anymore, it screams. And before you know it, your hand reaches for your phone. Not because you want to, but because you've forgotten how not to. It's become instinct now, the ritual of the modern soul. A prayer made of scrolling, a devotion paid in attention. You tell yourself you'll just check one thing, but one thing becomes 20. Each tap, each swipe, another tiny thread of your awareness pulled outward. You don't even notice it slipping away, your focus, your peace, your silence. The moment that screen lights up, your mind fractures. Headlines, messages, opinions, chaos. You see tragedies, triumphs, trends, all at once. And somewhere between all of it, you lose the sound of your own heartbeat. You react, you scroll, you respond. Not because you care, but because you're afraid of the stillness that waits when you stop. You've become so used to the noise that silence feels unnatural. And maybe that's what scares you the most. That quiet doesn't mean peace anymore. It means withdrawal, disconnection. You don't even rest when you're tired, you just switch tabs. You tell yourself you're connected to friends, to news, to the world. But deep down you can feel the truth humming beneath the surface. You're surrounded by everything, yet connected to nothing. You scroll past faces you know and lives you don't, and each one reminds you of the distance between what you show and what you feel. Sometimes in the middle of the day you catch yourself staring at nothing, your body in one place, your mind scattered across 1,000 feeds. You feel tired, but not the kind of tired that sleep can fix. It's a heaviness behind your eyes, a fog that no amount of caffeine clears. It's not depression, not exactly. It's overstimulation. The world got so loud that you stopped hearing your own voice. And in the noise, you start to forget. Forget how to be still. Forget how to feel something real. Forget what it means to simply exist without performing it. Look around, everyone's running, not from danger, but from silence. You can see it in their eyes, that flicker of panic when there's nothing left to distract them. People don't talk anymore, they broadcast. They don't listen, they wait for their turn to be heard. And the saddest part? You've started to do the same. There's a loneliness that hides inside all that connection, a quiet ache that whispers, "This isn't what you were meant for." You feel it when the room goes still after the laughter fades. You feel it when the glow of the screen is the only light in your bedroom. You feel it when your reflection looks like someone performing your life but not truly living it. You post, you react, you share, hoping someone out there will notice that you're still here. But attention isn't connection, is it? It fills the moment but empties the soul. It's like drinking salt water. The more you consume, the thirstier you become. And yet, every day you return to it, you tell yourself just one more scroll, one more message, one more minute. But minutes turn into hours, and hours turn into another day you don't remember living. You've built a life where noise feels safer than silence. Because silence demands that you face yourself. It asks questions you're not ready to answer. Who are you without the noise? What do you really want? Not what the ads told you to want, not what the feed rewarded you for wanting, but what your soul longs for when no one's watching. You used to know. You used to feel something real, unfiltered, simple. But over time it got buried beneath headlines, expectations, algorithms. Now the world sells your own attention back to you, packaged as relevance, wrapped in urgency. And every time you trade a moment of presence for a moment of noise, you forget a little more of what peace feels like. But there are cracks, moments when the noise slips. Late at night when everyone else is asleep, when your phone dies and for a second there's nothing to distract you. You feel it then. That strange, uncomfortable stillness. It's awkward at first, almost painful, like meeting someone you used to know but haven't spoken to in years. That someone is you. And if you stay with it, if you resist the urge to run back to distraction, you'll start to notice something. The silence isn't empty, it's alive. It hums with the same energy you've been searching for in 1,000 other places. It's not judgmental, not loud, not demanding. It's patient. It's been waiting for you to remember. You see, the world isn't loud by accident. It's designed to keep you busy, to keep you reactive, to keep you chasing what you already have inside you. Because the moment you stop feeding the noise, you start hearing the truth beneath it. You begin to see that what you've been calling life has been more like an echo chamber, a reflection of what everyone else wants you to be. And that realization, though terrifying, is the first moment of freedom. Because once you notice the noise, you can choose to step out of it. Not escape the world. Just stop letting it own your attention. You can take it back, one breath at a time. Every pause is an act of rebellion. Every moment of stillness is a declaration. I'm not here to perform. I'm here to remember, and that's where the real shift begins. Not in some grand awakening, but in the quiet decision to come home to yourself. So tonight, when the world gets loud again, when your feed fills, your phone buzzes, your mind races, pause. Just for a second. Don't run from the silence. Let it hold you. Let it remind you that beneath all the chaos, you are still here. You're not broken. You're just buried under the noise. And beneath it all, your soul is whispering softly, "Come back." You keep telling yourself that something must be wrong with you, that maybe you've lost your spark, that maybe you're not as motivated, not as disciplined, not as inspired as you used to be. You blame yourself for being tired, for not wanting to do more, for feeling disconnected. But what if it's not that you're broken? What if you're simply overstimulated? You've been living in a storm of constant input, images, messages, news, emotions that aren't even yours. Your nervous system has forgotten what peace feels like. Your mind has mistaken adrenaline for aliveness, and your heart, your poor heart, has been whispering for years, but you couldn't hear it over the volume of everything else. You don't need fixing. You need space. Space to breathe, space to feel without performing, space to let your own thoughts rise without being drowned by 1,000 other voices. The truth is, you've been surviving on borrowed energy. Every notification pulls a small thread from your focus. Every headline injects another dose of fear. Every post adds another layer of comparison you didn't ask for. And slowly you've been teaching your brain that peace is unsafe, that silence means something's wrong. But silence isn't danger. Silence is where your system recalibrates. It's where your mind returns to coherence. It's where your energy remembers its own frequency. You see, what you call burnout is not failure. It's your body's intelligence. Forcing a pause. It's your soul pulling the emergency brake on a life moving too fast. It's your consciousness saying, enough. I need stillness. Think about it. You were born knowing how to be present. As a child, you could spend hours staring at sunlight, watching dust float through the air as if it were magic. You didn't rush. You didn't multitask. You existed fully in the moment in that sacred state of wonder where time stood still. Then the world taught you to hurry, to achieve, to prove, to measure your worth in motion, and little by little you traded your presence for productivity, your joy for validation, your peace for the illusion of control. But deep inside, a part of you still remembers that quiet rhythm beneath the noise, that frequency of stillness where truth lives. That's why you feel restless. That's why no amount of success feels enough. Because you're trying to feed a spiritual hunger with sensory overload. You're not numb because you don't care. You're numb because you've been feeling too much for too long. You've absorbed the emotions of a world in chaos. You've carried stories that were never yours to hold. And in trying to stay connected, you disconnected from your own center. Let that sink in for a moment. You are not failing at being human. You are simply remembering what it means to be one. The world tells you that to fix yourself, you need to add more. More habits, more steps, more morning routines. But healing doesn't happen through adding. Healing happens through subtracting, through clearing the noise that's suffocating your natural state of clarity. You don't have to earn peace. You just have to stop chasing chaos. Imagine for a moment your mind as a room filled with static, voices overlapping, thoughts colliding, energy spinning. And then imagine opening a window, just one. The air shifts, the light returns, the noise softens. That's what stillness does. It doesn't erase the noise, it creates space for you to hear something deeper. And maybe that's what you've been craving all along. Not escape, but presence. Not entertainment, but meaning. Not more stimulation, but more silence. Because silence isn't emptiness, it's information. It's communication from the part of you that remembers who you are before the world told you who to be. You've spent years trying to find your purpose, your why, your next step. But maybe purpose isn't something you find. Maybe it's something you hear. In the quiet between distractions, in the moments when you stop trying so hard to be someone and simply let yourself be no one. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are simply overstimulated in a culture addicted to noise. And that culture will tell you to do more, to fix, optimize, achieve, because it profits from your restlessness. But the moment you choose stillness, the system loses its grip. You become unpredictable, untouchable, because a centered human cannot be controlled by chaos. Stillness is not weakness, it's power. It's remembering that your attention, your awareness, is the most valuable energy in the universe. And every time you reclaim it, you shift your entire frequency. Maybe you don't need another plan. Maybe you just need to pause, to close your eyes, to breathe in silence, and to remember that being alive doesn't mean being overwhelmed. Let yourself rest. Not because you've earned it, but because you deserve it by existing. Let yourself do nothing. Let yourself unplug even when the world keeps spinning. The world will still be there when you return, but you'll come back with your power intact. Because the truth is, you were never meant to keep up with the noise. You were meant to transcend it. You were meant to remember that peace is not something outside of you. It's the baseline frequency of your soul. So tonight, when you feel that ache, that quiet exhaustion in your chest, don't fight it. Don't drown it with distraction. Just sit with it. Feel it. Listen to it. That ache isn't emptiness, it's your soul knocking, asking to be heard above the static. And when you finally stop running long enough to listen, you'll hear it whisper, "You were never broken. You were just waiting to come home." At some point you start to wonder, what if the noise outside is only reflecting the noise inside? What if the chaos of the world isn't something happening to you, but something vibrating through you? You see, the universe doesn't shout, it whispers, through energy, through resonance, through vibration. Everything you see, everything you feel, everything you attract into your experience is responding to one simple thing: your attention. Your attention is your frequency. It's the signal you send into the field of creation, and every moment you scatter it to the news, to the fear, to the endless scroll of other people's lives, you collapse your reality into fragments of theirs. The quantum field doesn't care what you want. It mirrors what you are. And when your awareness is split, your life begins to feel fragmented too. One piece chasing success, another chasing love, another hiding from failure. And somewhere in the middle of all that chasing, you lose the coherence that makes your energy whole. You've been taught that focus is productivity, but in truth, focus is creation. Whatever you give consistent attention to becomes the vibration you emit into the field. And the field, this infinite, intelligent canvas of energy, paints your life based on that vibration. Think of it like a mirror. When you smile, it smiles back. When you frown, it reflects that too. Now imagine that mirror not as glass, but as the entire universe, reflecting your internal frequency back to you in infinite forms. That's why overstimulation is so dangerous. Because when your attention is scattered across 1,000 fragments, you send out a signal that says, "I am fragmented." And so life mirrors that back in your relationships, your emotions, your health, your purpose. Everything starts to feel like static. You can't manifest clarity from confusion. You can't call in peace from chaos, because in the quantum field, you don't get what you want. You become what you want. And maybe that's the truth you've been missing all along. You've been trying to fix your outer reality without realizing it's a projection of your inner state. You've been adjusting the picture instead of tuning the frequency. But when you start to see through the lens of energy, everything shifts. You begin to notice how much power lives in a single moment of stillness. Because in that stillness, your scattered energy gathers again. You stop being 1,000 open tabs and you return to one unified presence. You. That's the real quantum awakening. Not learning more, not doing more, but remembering that you are the field itself. You are not a wave lost in the ocean. You are the ocean momentarily pretending to be a single drop. Every thought, every emotion, every breath you take sends ripples through the quantum fabric of reality. And those ripples return to you as experiences, coincidences, people, and synchronicities. So the question isn't, why is my life like this? The question is, what am I broadcasting right now? When your mind is noisy, your signal is weak. When your heart is calm, your signal becomes clear. And when both align, when intention and emotion vibrate as one, you become magnetic, not metaphorically, energetically. You begin to notice that things start rearranging themselves to match the frequency you emit. The right people show up. Opportunities unfold naturally. Even the timing of life feels smoother, more intelligent, as if the universe is breathing with you instead of against you. That's not magic, that's physics, that's coherence. But coherence can't exist in chaos. You can't tune an instrument in a hurricane. You can't align your energy while your mind is chasing noise. That's why silence isn't just peace, it's recalibration. Every pause, every mindful breath is you tuning your own frequency back to harmony. You've spent so long looking for truth outside of you, in books, in teachers, in belief systems. But the field was always waiting for you to look inward. Because the field doesn't respond to what you say, it responds to what you are. And what you are is consciousness, pure, aware, infinite. The ego wants to complicate it. It says, you need to heal more. You need to achieve more. You need to be more. But the soul knows you already are. You've just been vibrating on someone else's channel. Imagine if you could remember that. Every time you get overwhelmed, every time the noise pulls you back into distraction, you could simply whisper to yourself, my energy creates reality. And suddenly the power shifts. You stop reacting. You start choosing. You start aligning instead of fighting. Because in truth, nothing is happening to you. Everything is happening through you. The universe isn't against you, it's mirroring you, perfectly, precisely, compassionately. So you can see the vibration you're living in. And once you see it, you can change it. Not by effort, not by force, but by returning to coherence, by bringing your energy home. That's what the quantum truth really is. You don't find peace by escaping the noise. You create peace by not resonating with it anymore. When you stop matching the world's chaos, the chaos can no longer reach you. It still exists. But you're vibrating above it like calm water reflecting a stormy sky. So the next time the world feels too loud, remember, you are not just a person trying to survive it. You are consciousness creating it. And when you shift your frequency, from reaction to awareness, from fear to presence, from noise to silence, the entire field shifts with you. Because that's how powerful your attention truly is. It's the brush that paints your reality, the key that tunes the universe to your wavelength, the portal between who you think you are and who you actually are. And when you finally remember that, you stop chasing reality and start composing it. At first, silence feels strange to you. It's heavy, uncomfortable, too empty, almost suspicious. You sit there waiting for something to happen. A thought, a distraction, a reason to move again. But nothing comes. Just stillness. You're not used to stillness, are you? You've spent years running from it, calling it boredom, calling it laziness, calling it unproductive. But beneath those labels, there was always a quiet fear that if you stopped long enough to listen, you'd finally hear what your soul has been trying to say. And now, here you are, face to face with it. No background music, no notifications. Just you and the sound of your own existence. At first, the mind protests. It doesn't know how to rest. It fidgets, it calculates, it reaches for something familiar. Anything to fill the space. But silence is patient. It waits. It doesn't fight back, it simply invites. And slowly you begin to surrender. The breath deepens, the heartbeat slows. Your thoughts start to spread out like clouds thinning after a storm. You realize you've been holding your breath for years, holding tension in your jaw, your shoulders, your chest, as if the world's weight depended on your constant movement. But in this moment, the weight begins to lift. The silence isn't empty after all. It's full of presence, full of awareness, full of something ancient that you can't quite name, something that feels like home. You notice the air, how it touches your skin, the hum of electricity in the walls, the rhythm of your pulse in your ears. It's as if reality has slowed down enough for you to finally see it breathing. You start to realize this is what truth sounds like. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet, calm, precise, infinite. The world taught you that healing comes from effort, that peace must be earned, that awakening is something you chase. But here in this stillness, you see how simple it really is. You don't heal by doing more. You heal by becoming still enough for your true frequency to emerge again. Because silence isn't the absence of sound, it's the presence of everything. It's where energy aligns, where chaos dissolves, where all the fragmented versions of you return home. You can feel it, can't you? That subtle shift inside, the tension between your thoughts loosens, the endless analysis fades, and what remains is awareness, pure, alive, unshaken. That's you, not the noise, not the story, not the past. You, the observer beneath it all. The consciousness watching the world unfold, no longer drowning in it. This is the portal the mystics spoke of. This is the moment the quantum physicists tried to describe. When the observer and the observed become one. When awareness collapses into presence. When you realize that what you're looking for is looking through you. There's no enlightenment waiting on a mountain. There's no teacher hiding a secret formula. There's only this. This silence, this stillness, this breath. And the more you listen, the more you remember. You remember that you are not a being lost in time. You are time flowing through being. You are not trapped in this body. This body is the instrument through which your consciousness sings. You are not the noise. You are the space that holds it all. Every inhale becomes a prayer. Every exhale, a release. You feel the field shift around you as if the universe is exhaling with you. The air feels alive, electric, intelligent. You realize silence is not passive, it's creative. It's the raw material of reality. You begin to feel something. Subtle at first, like a soft hum under your skin, it grows warmer, gentler, as if the universe is flowing through you. That's not imagination, that's coherence. That's your energy sinking back with its original rhythm. In this stillness, you're not escaping life. You're merging with it. You're tuning your frequency back to harmony. And from that harmony, new realities begin to form. Not from effort, but from alignment. Because creation doesn't happen in chaos. It happens in silence. Every galaxy, every sound, every idea, all of it began the same way. From stillness. And now you see the pattern. You are not separate from creation. You are creation remembering itself. The noise was never the enemy. It was the teacher, the storm that showed you the value of calm. You had to lose your silence to understand its sacredness. And now, as you return to it, you begin to realize the most profound truth of all. You don't have to find peace. You are made of it. The stillness isn't something outside of you. It's been inside you all along, waiting beneath the static, beneath the roles, beneath the endless performing. And when you close your eyes, when you finally stop reaching outward, you can feel it. That quiet pulse of eternity beating inside your chest. It's not fragile. It's not fleeting. It's infinite. So let the world be loud. Let the headlines scream. Let the algorithms chase attention. You've remembered the truth, that silence isn't your escape, it's your revolution. Because every time you choose stillness in a world that profits from your distraction, you rise above its gravity. Every breath you take in awareness is rebellion. Every moment of calm is an act of creation. And every time you return to silence, you shift the frequency of the entire field around you. The noise will still exist, but it can no longer own you. Because once you've heard the language of silence, you can never unhear it. And that language says, you are not the storm. You are the sky. There's a quiet after awakening. Not dramatic, not grand. Just a stillness that follows you like soft light. You begin to notice things again. The sound of your footsteps on the floor. The rhythm of your breath when you're not thinking about it. The way sunlight hits the wall differently when you're really there to see it. Something inside you has shifted. You don't move as fast anymore, not because you're lazy, but because you're listening. The world still hums with its chaos, but it no longer drags you into its frequency. You walk through it like a tuning fork that has remembered its own pitch. And that's what presence really is, not escaping the noise, but no longer feeding it. You can be in the middle of traffic, in a crowded store, on a call that drains your energy, and still be free. Because freedom was never about where you are. It was always about where your attention lives. You start to realize how much of your life was spent half here, half somewhere else. Talking but not hearing, eating but not tasting, working but not creating. You weren't living, you were buffering. Always one thought ahead, one notification away from now. But now you've come home to the present moment. And it feels almost foreign at first, like learning to breathe in a new atmosphere, thinner, lighter, more honest. You notice how your mind still tries to escape, still whispers, check this, fix that, plan ahead. But you catch it now. Gently, not with judgment, but with understanding. You smile at it, you say, I see you. And then you come back onto the inhale, the exhale, the hum of existence beneath it all. Presence is not something you achieve once and keep forever. It's a practice of returning again and again until the returning itself becomes natural. It's the art of remembering who's behind the noise, who's behind the thoughts. There's a line you begin to live by. You don't have to escape society, just stop feeding its noise. You don't delete your apps or move to the mountains, you simply stop letting them own your frequency. When you scroll consciously. When you speak slowly. When you really listen, not to respond but to understand. You begin to feel the sacred in the ordinary. Washing dishes becomes meditation. The steam rising from your morning coffee feels like a reminder of impermanence, beautiful, fleeting. You start to see divinity in the mundane because your attention has become holy again. Every moment you give awareness to expands. Every moment you withhold awareness from dissolves. That's how energy works. That's how creation works. Presence isn't about isolation, it's about intimacy. With the world, with others, with yourself. It's the ability to meet life fully, the joy, the grief, the uncertainty, without running from it. Because once you've tasted silence, you stop fearing emotion. You understand that even pain is a kind of teacher, a frequency asking to be felt so it can be released. You learn to listen beneath the noise, to sense energy, to feel intention. You can tell when someone's words come from truth or fear. You can feel when a room vibrates with authenticity or performance. And in those moments you don't judge, you simply stay anchored. Because presence doesn't need to convince, it transforms by example. The people around you start to notice. They can't explain it, but they feel calmer in your presence. Your silence becomes magnetic, not because it's mysterious, but because it's rare. You no longer compete for attention, you radiate it. And that radiance reminds others that they too can return home to themselves. You begin to realize that every pause you take is an act of healing. Every conscious breath ripples through the field. Small waves of coherence in a world vibrating with chaos. And maybe that's your purpose now. Not to preach, not to fix, but simply to be the still point in a spinning world. There's power in that. The power of someone who no longer chases validation. The power of someone who no longer trades peace for performance. The power of someone who knows. Awareness itself changes reality. Because when you're present, you're powerful. When you're fully here, the universe can finally meet you here. Synchronicities appear. Paths open. Life begins to feel less like effort, more like flow. It's not that challenges disappear, Dawns. You just stop fighting them as enemies. You see them as mirrors, showing where your energy still needs alignment. And so you live differently now. You move slower but with more precision. You say less, but everything you say carries weight. You need less, but everything you have feels sacred. Presence doesn't make you separate from the world. It makes you available to it, fully, authentically, vibrationally. You start to see that the noise wasn't just around you. It was a part of your evolution. The static existed to remind you what clarity feels like. The storm existed to teach you the peace beyond understanding. Now when life gets loud again, and it will, you don't panic. You close your eyes. You take one conscious breath, and instantly you're back. Back in your body, back in your energy. Back in the moment where everything is happening and nothing is missing. Because presence is not an achievement. It's remembrance. It's the act of returning again and again to the truth that was never gone. You are the stillness behind the movement. You are the awareness behind the thought. You are the calm within the storm. And maybe that's all awakening ever was. Not a journey upward, but a journey inward, a gentle homecoming to the space that never left you. So let the world rush. Let it spin and scream and demand. You know better now. You know that your silence is not absence, it's alignment. That your stillness is not surrendered, it's power. And that every time you return to presence, you don't escape life. You become it. There comes a moment, quiet, weightless, when you realize you're not walking toward awakening anymore. You're walking as it. You're no longer chasing light at the end of a tunnel. You've become the light itself. It's subtle at first. The same world surrounds you, the same cities, the same faces, the same sky. But something inside has changed its frequency. The noise no longer pulls, it passes through you like wind through open hands. The chaos no longer owns your energy, it bends around you, gentle, harmless. Because now you're aligned with something deeper. Something that doesn't move when the world does. This is what it means to awaken. Not to rise above life, but to fall fully into it, to see through the illusion of separation, to feel the same consciousness beating inside all things. You start to sense it in the trees, the wind, the strangers you pass. It's as if the universe has put on a new skin, and that skin is awareness itself. your awareness. You realize the truth. You were never disconnected. You only forgot how to feel the connection that was always there. You mistook noise for life and silence for emptiness. But silence is life's purest sound. The hum beneath creation, the breath beneath every breath. You can feel it now, can't you? That field of presence around you, soft, luminous, infinite. It doesn't ask for belief. It doesn't require effort. It simply is. And in your stillness, you begin to merge with it, the individual dissolving into the whole. You remember what the mystics tried to say in words too small for truth. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean remembering itself as a drop. You've spent a lifetime looking for meaning, in purpose, in success, in love. But meaning was never something to find. It's something you bring. You are the meaning you've been searching for. You are the awareness that gives existence its purpose. And now, you see how sacred this human experience really is. Every joy, every heartbreak, every stumble and breakthrough, they were never punishments or tests. They were awakenings in disguise. Each one nudged you closer to remembering what you truly are. The suffering wasn't meaningless. It was the friction that cracked the illusion, the ache that made space for the light to enter. And the noise, the endless, exhausting noise, was never the enemy. It was the teacher that showed you how precious silence could be. Now you move through the world differently. You listen before you speak. You see before you judge. You feel before you act. There's no need to prove, no urgency to convince. You've become a quiet revolution in a culture addicted to reaction, and your presence, steady, calm, unwavering, becomes a reminder to others that peace is possible here, now, in this life. That's the invitation, not to escape this world, but to elevate it, not to retreat from humanity, but to embody its highest frequency. You are not here to run from the noise. You are here to bring stillness into it, to be the silence that transforms the sound. Every time you choose presence over distraction, you change the field around you. Every time you breathe consciously, you recalibrate the space you occupy. That's how energy spreads. That's how awakening moves, not through preaching, but through vibration. You start to see how your very being is medicine. Your calm is contagious. Your awareness softens the edges of others. You don't need to speak about awakening. You are it. And the people who are ready will feel it like a faint memory calling them home. Because awakening was never meant to be an escape. It's an invitation to remember, to return, to rebuild the bridge between heaven and earth inside your own heart. And when you live from that space, everything changes, not in appearance, but in meaning. The small things begin to glow again. The laughter of a friend, the warmth of morning light on your skin, the sound of rain. You start to see the infinite hiding inside the ordinary. And that realization, that every breath is holy, is what true awakening feels like. You are no longer looking for miracles. You are the miracle, a fragment of consciousness remembering its wholeness, a being of light wrapped in human form, an infinite frequency vibrating as a moment in time. The world doesn't need a louder you. It needs a truer you, the one who listens, the one who feels, the one who knows that silence isn't absence, not its origin, and from that origin creation begins again. So when the noise rises, and it will, don't fight it. Just remember that your stillness is the revolution, that your awareness is the medicine, that your presence is the prayer. Close your eyes, breathe, listen. This world doesn't need more noise, it needs frequency, it needs truth, it needs you awake, aware, alive. Because the awakening isn't coming someday, it's happening now, and you are it. So, take this silence with you. Carry it into the streets, into your conversations, into the chaos of ordinary days. Let it hum quietly beneath your words. Let it soften the world just by being near it. And when you forget, because you will, when the noise finds you again, don't blame yourself. Just pause, breathe, return. You'll hear it again. That familiar whisper in the quiet between thoughts. This world doesn't need a louder you. It needs a truer you. Silence is where your soul starts speaking again. And when it does, you'll know you've come full circle, not ending the journey, but beginning it. As consciousness awake in human form. Welcome home.